Welcome to this weekend edition of the Nightly Nuge. Ted, we've had a crazy week talking about America, really the world in crisis, but you have the solution, and it all centers around getting outdoors, huh?
Yeah, I tell you, I'm a very active, high-energy guy. I don't know if anybody noticed that. If you look closely behind me, there's a vapor trail of flames of freedom. Fan the flames of freedom. Yeah, I've always been tuned in because being raised as a bow hunter and the incredible challenge of getting close to God's miraculous wildlife to stick it with a sharp stick is one of the most challenging, nearly impossible endeavors a person can pursue. And so that higher level of awareness that is cultivated and nurtured and demanded by the bow hunting lifestyle also helped my guitar playing, because if I wanted to learn Chuck Berry's licks and I wanted to learn B.B. King's guitar licks and I wanted to learn to scream like Little Richard, I had to really submerge myself, immerse myself in the spirit of the music. And nowadays, with all the treachery in our world, all the abusive power, the runaway glaring criminality by our own government, I know it's heartbreaking. It kind of leaves us weak when we witness this kind of criminal behavior by people who are supposed to take care of us in our government, not take care of us, but at least secure the borders, at least cultivate independence for Americans. So I get outdoors every day. I do media interviews every day. We do the Nightly Nuge every day. And I get out with Sadie, Happy, and Coco, my beloved dogs. And Shemaine and I go on and take walks. We take long walks. I take my suppressed Ruger 22 just in case a squirrel gets treed by Happy. Did I say just in case? I guarantee Happy's going to tree a squirrel while we're on a walk. And I make sure that I shoot some fricassee. My point being is that by the time Shemaine and I and the dogs leave the tarmac of our home, and we walk the caliche trails, and we walk out into the hayfield, and we walk over by the West Pond in the woods, Keith and everybody really, Keith already knows this, but there is no Joe Biden. There is no Hunter Biden. There is no Nancy Pelosi. There is no criminal abuse of power. There is no war in Ukraine. There is no ugliness. There is no evil. The spirit of the wild. And it's available. I don't care whether you own a ranch or a farm. There's a park nearby.
Yep.
There's a wooded street nearby. There's a dirt road nearby. And I know I'm a loudmouth, high energy, flame throwing son of a bitch, but the reason I'm able to be so alive as a loudmouth, flame throwing, high energy son of a bitch is because I shut it down. I take a deep breath. I grab my bow and arrow. I grab my 22. And I don't have to kill something every time, but if I see a squirrel or if it's the season is on and the dogs put up a rabbit or a pheasant, I'm obligated to harvest the creature, at least to make the dogs happy. Then it's also the reward for the greatest quality of diet available to mankind. So the spirit of the wild is about genuflecting at the altar of God's miraculous creation and the super healing powers of nature. So right. A lot of the Nightly Nuge celebrants here at our electronic campfire, Keith, they're already hunters and fishermen and trappers, and they're archers and they're marksmen, and they go to the skeet range and the trap range. But anybody out there that doesn't have a bow and arrow, get one. Find a bow that is smooth and graceful and effortless. You don't have to, it's not about power, it's about grace. Get that bow that's graceful, easy to draw, and stand in front of a bale of hay or a cardboard box full of newspapers at 10 feet, 5 feet, and discover that hand-eye coordination of the mystical flight of the arrow, the origins of the Zen religion, where God has already given us everything we need for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We all already have it. We just have to acknowledge it, respect it, and implement it. It's unlimited powers that God has given us.
Yep.
And the mystical flight of the arrow. I've written books. I have a book called Blood Trails, The Truth About Bow Hunting. I have a bunch of New York Times bestsellers, Ted White and Blue, God, Guns, and Rock and Roll. But my book, The Truth About Bow Hunting, it will guide you down a path. And my fellow archers and my fellow sportsmen out there already know this, but so many people need to grasp tangibly the healing powers of nature. And a walk in the woods is good. Planting trees is better. Optimizing wildlife habitat is better yet. Walking with a bow and arrow and discovering that hand-eye spirit Zen, that martial arts of who's in charge of the path of your arrow? You are. Who controls the path of your life? You are. So the healing powers of nature are universal, unlimited, and everywhere. So my friends, it's heartbreaking, and we get angry, and we get frustrated, and we get depressed, and we're scared. I'm all those things. But then I take a deep breath and I go for a walk where there's trees and a little wind and maybe some critters. And I try to conduct myself in a conscientious way, putting forth a conscientious step without being an intruder, without disrupting nature, but being one with nature, with a bow and arrow or 22 or without. And all of a sudden you'll find that a conscientious step will be rewarded with those cardinals coming by, that tufted titmouse, maybe that great horned owl in the distance, maybe a Cooper's hawk or a red-tailed hawk. Maybe you'll get close to them and you'll be mesmerized by them. But take that moment, watch that hawk, watch that. How close can you get? And you won't be able to get very close. Watch that squirrel groom itself. And all of a sudden, there's no ugliness. There's no communism.
Nope.
There's no treachery. So the healing powers of nature are available to everybody. Find them and use them. And whatever you do after that healing session, you'll be better at, I promise you.
Powerful, Ted. Great week, buddy. Come back next week and we'll have some more of the Nightly Nuge. Great job, Ted.
God bless everybody.